Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Aoife Keane. I'm the Customer Marketing Specialist here at VisibleThread. This is part 2, the final instalment of our Staying Compliant in Federal Contracting series that we've been running this week. If you were here with us for yesterday's session, welcome back. We're delighted to have you here for part 2. If this is your first session with us, fear not, the previous session with Jeff Shapiro and Kyle Peterson is already available to watch on demand. So you should be able to see that link on our webinar console below. For today's session, I'm joined with Suki Kazim, Customer Success Manager here at VisibleThread. Suki will be demonstrating how you can leverage VTDocs for enhanced compliance. A couple of housekeeping things to mention before we get started. This session is also being recorded, so both the slides and the recording will be emailed out after the webinar. Throughout this webinar, feel free to ask us any questions in the Ask Question box and do engage with us in the attendee chat. We'll get back to any questions at the end. On the console, you will see the Relate Free Content tab. We have put together some upcoming events and resources that we believe you will get value from, so feel free to click those links throughout this session. And finally, you will be able to see a screen on the survey also. This can be filled out at any stage of the webinar, so do feel free to leave us any feedback you have and any recommendations for what you'd like to see in any upcoming webinars we host. Your insights are valuable, and we do take them into account when we're planning these sessions. So before we get into today's webinar, I wanted to highlight a fantastic resource that is VT University. For those that may not be aware of this great resource, it's VisibleThread's free online learning platform with courses that provide you with step-by-step guidance to master our solution in no time. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Suki, who will kick things off by asking some poll questions. You'll be able to click on the slides in the console to submit your answer. So over to you, Suki.
Thanks so much, Aoife. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where in the world you're signing in from. It's nice to be here and just chat to you from a compliancy perspective. My name is Suki, as Aoife has told us. Today we'll be going through a compliance-related webinar. And just to get it started, I just like to understand, right, for context, as we're going through this, to what extent basically I have to explain the features and as we go through this. So it'll be handy just to understand if you've ever, used VTDocs, and like I said, to what extent. So we've got some questions. If you don't mind just clicking on the screen, and from there we'll go. So this question, have you used the compliance matrix or simple shred feature in VTDocs? Simple yes, no, please. We'll give you a couple of seconds just to answer, and then we can go from there, please. Alrighty, so if we go next, we'll see right here. Okay, excellent. So it seems like a balance effectively. For those of you who haven't used it, it's likely that you're perhaps newer to VTDocs or you haven't exposed to it at all, so welcome. And for those of you who have said yes, you may be working with me, right, day to day, and if not, you'll have a designated CSM, as you know, who will help you out with this, so excellent. This next one, have you used the category shred feature in VTDocs? This previously, by the way, is also called a responsibility matrix, right? Just in case. Give it a couple more seconds. Okay. So we shall see the results of this. And okay, 50-50. That makes sense, right? It depends on the output, how you want to use it, whether it's a simple or a category shred. So excellent for me. Thanks for letting me know. Next one, latest, greatest enhancement of our dictionaries. Have you color-coded them being dictionaries in VTDocs? And then this as well, to remind you, right, is quite literally that. You've got a dictionary in our latest version and the enhancements, depending on whether or not you like to color code and it makes sense. I'll go into that later on, just as I give us a couple more seconds. But it seems pretty balanced overall so far, so I'm curious to see how this goes. Okay, let's see the results. All right, so we've got a no in this one, not a problem. It depends on how you use it. One thing I will just flag right now from the get-go is if you log into VT Docs, you'll see on the top left when I share my screen, ideally you're on 6 point something. If you're not and you're on version 5 or less, please reach out to your CSM, and on top of that as well to your IT team, just a little nudge. Color coding is a feature in our latest product update. So that may be the reason why you don't have exposure to it. And final one, I believe, have you customized your output using the ignore feature in VT Docs? So there's two options for this, ignore pages and ignore text. Either one, if you've used it at all, great. If not, I'll be showing you either way in the webinar today. So this will be another gauge for me based off of basically, what are we doing today? Three, two, one. All right, let's see. Okay, excellent. So customization is big, right? That's what we want happening in VT Docs. So what I'll do is go through the agenda effectively before I get into screen sharing of the platform itself. So 4 main things today we'll be covering. One is how to shred your documents. So this is either Word or PDF documents. How to create a compliance matrix and color code it. This again, I had a feeling, so I wanted to pop it in there so you can see the value. You know, if you've got this product, let's make sure you're using it to its maximum utility. And then how to identify risky compliance terms and requirements. So in this case, we'll go through like a FAR DFAR example, and then tailoring your outputs. This is why I asked the ignore feature question and also the color coding question. So this will go through. You'll just see shortly as a preview almost, right? What these outputs will look like that I'll be sharing with you today. We'll also be going through this platform. This is where I say 6.0. If you can see on the top left, you'll see it on my screen anyway. We just want to make sure, like I said, you're on a 6.0 version. Identifying these compliance terms. You'll see a little snippet. This is the dictionary preview. I'll go into what dictionaries mean shortly. And then underneath as well, that category shred that I had asked if you've used it before. And then, you know, why would we be using this in the first place? So tailoring your output right here in 6.0 again, you'll hear me say this perhaps an annoying number of times, but you have customization outputs that have been enhanced in 6.0. So you'll see as I go through it, why I keep asking that question. So what I'll do right now is share my screen and we can go from there. And as you have questions, obviously Aoife will be monitoring this. Aoife's already told us, you know, we will be going through your questions later on. And we'll just pause at the end because there may be a chance, right? I address this as we go. Aoife, I will just gut check with you. Can we see my screen?
All good, we're in VT Docs.
Excellent, thank you. So for those of you who know this, this is nothing new. This is your home screen when you log in to VT Docs. Nice usage, activity tracking, all of that good stuff. But where are we going to actually do this analyzation of our documents is from folders. Folders house files. Files are those documents that you will be analyzing, that you will be shredding. For the purposes of this, we're looking at it from a compliancy angle today, right? So these files can be any forms of solicitations, SOWs, RFPs, RFIs, whatever you like, but today from a compliancy angle. Before I even get into how we conduct shreds, let's just take a step back and talk about dictionaries. What are they? Dictionaries are this icon right here. I have 66. You by no means have to have 66. You can have one that works terrifically and you've customized it for your needs, and that's all. But what are they? As you can see on the screen, right? Groups of phrases and terms that you're looking for within documents that you want to search for. So in this case, when you think compliancy, right? Simple, will, shall, must. You can go beyond that when you're thinking FARS, DFARS, you know, your 252, 52. But that is what a dictionary is. We use those keywords, scan it against, leverage that dictionary against a document, against an RFP as an example. And then we'll give you a lovely Excel output as a starter matrix from which you can then build off of and customize it as your own. So that is just so you can understand, especially for the newer folks on the call, what is a dictionary? Why would we be using it? If I click into this compliance dictionary as an example, This is a very simple one that we'll be using today, will, shall, must. I've got it color-coded in red. Again, this is why I ask if you're on 6.0. And for a lot of you, right, or for most of you, as you'd answered, you haven't leveraged this, and that is okay, but it is recommended that you do, and you'll understand the power of why. So I've got this color-coded right here. Very, very friendly to use in 6.0. Another reason why we encourage you to be on this platform and interface. And so that is what a dictionary is, right? You use it to find keywords, phrases within a document. Now, I'll actually get into what we're doing today. It made sense that we'll be using the NASA soup example, a release from that, just so we can see, it's a hot topic right now. I'm assuming maybe, so, some people are working on it as we speak. So we will use this file right here as I've clicked in my folder that I've got. Multiple files, subfolders, you can do all of that, right? Organize it the way that you want. But today we'll be using this and a few other examples to shred today. So got my file, click simple shred right here, right? Compliance matrix. And before I go and export out, very easy, I'm going to change my dictionary to the dictionary that I want to use, which in this case is going to be my compliance dictionary. I've shown you this before, right? 3 simple words, will, shall, and must. And this gives you a preview effectively, right, of what is going to be in our Excel output, where in that soup document, in that word soup document, have we found these instances of these words. So you'll see, right, 444 right here for shall. And if you ever have a term, right, that you've popped into your dictionary and it's grayed out, the reason for that is we simply haven't found it in the document. Some people actually like to know what they haven't found. So that's just a tip and just an understanding for you of why it's grayed out if it is that case. So I've got this, I can check it, I can get a nice preview of compliancy as well, like I said before, if you want to read through this. But let's actually do the shredding. I'll click simple shred. These are my customizations that I will speak to later on. But first, let's actually look at, just from scratch, if we just click, don't change anything, what does it look like? So we export to Excel for your shreds, and you'll understand why. Right now, very, very quick, you saw, this is the document that we have that we're going to be leveraging against. So A to C, these columns are basically my reference point, my frame of reference for location of where it is in my source document. For Word documents, we provide you with headings where applicable, paragraph numbers, and reference points. Then right here, D to H, I've got the entirety of my content pasted into here. We do not omit anything unless you want it that way. And I'll show you how you can customize and omit information if you wanted to, but we always transfer what's in the source document right into your Excel. I to L is the dictionary that I had shown you before, so will, shall, must. You'll see it pop in soon. And then M is a column of customization, your comments here. If you had internal comments that you wanted to cascade, this is obviously a deliverable. It's an Excel. You can, share this with your colleagues internally. So we have that over there, and you can always insert an additional column if you wanted to for your purposes. Compliant, yes, no, something like that. It's completely up to you. Export settings as well. You'd be surprised how many times people forget the way they have exported. So we have this little grid up here as well, if you need it to be like, how did I export? Okay, so I will show you an effective version of how we use this, but you'll see very quickly, right? We've got our wills, we've got our shalls, we've got our musts, bold and red, so it sticks out to me in the document. And this is why I think one of the reasons why color coding is important. Right here first, I'll show you why I used a Word document. First, we'll go into some lines just to see, okay, what is the impact of this, right? So if I just scroll, you'll see a table right here. This is why I suggested a Word document. We wrap text and tables very well in 6.0. This is a main use case. If you have a table dense document, even if it is in PDF, my recommendation is you convert it into Word and upload it. If you always want to, compare the two and see what you prefer, that's totally fine. But best practice, Word document for table dense solicitations, RFPs, whatever it is. So that's great. But this is a lot, of information that aren't our dictionary hits. So what I like to do and what we recommend as a best practice, it's a basic Excel functionality. You'll see these 1s and 2s in the corner. I'll click the 1 and it condenses all of my dictionary hits, as you can see, right? And so it's just our will, shalls, musts, what we care for, what we're looking for in a document present right here. And let's actually start reading it, right? Get into the meat of the document. So again, what are we looking for in this case? So this is a nice chunky paragraph. What is this, right? The contractor shall submit monthly progress reports of all work accomplished covering all orders active during each performance month. Point being, I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, but this lets you know basically what you have to provide as a deliverable as well. It's not necessarily just tangible, right? Goods and services, but what report-wise do you need to actually provide in Cascade or monthly reports? So okay, this is something we need to be compliant in. As an example, you shall be doing this for the awarding of this contract. So that is one handy way of, well, why would we be using this? And actually, let me just zoom in to save your eyes. Let's go into something, more important as far as why you'd be shredding this way. I think pricing is always big. So let's just look somewhere here, and here we go. Pricing must be comparable to that of other subcontractors and similar contract vehicles. This again can be generic, and it's like, yeah, Suki, we know that, right? Or yes, NASA, we know that. But pricing is always very, very important when you're looking at bidding, when you're looking at responding. So another reason why it is important to have these words condensed so quickly, so easily with the color coding present within your shreds. So pricing related conditions, clauses, that is always helpful. As far as looking at timelines and deliveries, this is why a simple shred is always helpful. You can, of course, right, very easily just filter as well. If you wanted to sort and filter, I just want to see, just the wills. You can do that. Let's just go to the top and it'll start off with all your wills, right? At the top if you want to work off that way. Everyone's different, but just some tips and tricks of this is how and why you would use a simple shred. Now what I'll do is go with the same angle, right, or the same source document rather, but let's switch it up and go, will, shall, must is great. What if I want to look at FAR DFARS, right? So if we've got contracts folks on the call, I always work with contracts users, and this is a main ask, FAR DFARS, we need to make sure we're looking into that. So not a problem. All you have to do is create a dictionary, of course, customizable to what you're looking for again. And we have baseline dictionaries, by the way. As I change this dictionary to a FAR DFAR one, you can find these in our dictionary marketplace. Let me change my dictionary, and then I'll show you once it buffers. But you'll see right here with my mouse, this little question mark, you have baseline dictionaries they can build off of. But the importance of this one is the color coding, in my opinion, and some of our pretty handy functionalities that we have. So my FAR DFAR dictionary has 6 categories. I have them color coded as well. And in this case, color has meaning. In the last one, I wanted, my will shalls to be boldened and, speak out to me, shout at me effectively. But over here, my color has meaning. I've got my green category in compliant. I've got red, non-compliant. And this is that preview that I was speaking about. Thankfully, it seems like we're only non-compliant, right, in one category. And right off the bat, you can see it from here as well if you wanted a preview of, okay. And this sometimes helps you, right? I digress a bit when we're thinking about bid, no bid, but just keep that in the back of your mind as well. But there's a non-compliant term right there, clause. And then my orange, traffic light system. Okay, this is something we should be looking at. And then blue and pink, like the colors for my mandatory flow down. These are the ones that I picked. Catch-all. Some of you I know are not strangers to this. We have wildcards functionalities in our dictionaries. They have been enhanced again in 6.0. The purpose of a wildcard is find me everything beginning with this. So in this case, it's going to help me find all the 5.2s because I've popped an asterisk in front of 5.2, all the 2.5.2s because I've popped an asterisk in front of the 2.5.2. So just so you understand, that's why that's there. If you're like, why is there a WC? That's the reason, it's not the loo. So I will now shred to Excel using my categories and my dictionary that I've placed. And again, we shall just show you what it looks like first. And why do I have categories, right? Because there's 6 separate sections. So it makes sense to run a category shred as the name suggests. We have multiple categories, therefore we will export accordingly. Very quick as you saw again, right? We've got our output. Nothing changes up until here. Ooh. And let me just zoom in for you. L all the way to Q, these columns, these are my categories that I had present in my dictionary, right? So now what we've done is we've assigned column by column the category that we were looking for. And this to me is really, really handy when you're doing FAR DFARS, you know, when you're looking at anything that is clause-based and you have multiple categories, please use this. It's the most simple and easiest output to work with. What you'll see then is the dictionary, right, that we have over here being cross-referenced with all of the content again from that soup document. So as we go down over here, you will see that we are finding you cross-reference with the dictionary, and then we'll pop in an X where we find that dictionary hit. So very handy to use. And this is not just for clauses, right? If you're thinking as well from SMEs or departments, proposals can have its own column, you know, legal can have its own column, BD capture, however you want to use it. But when we're thinking about compliancy, this is an appropriate use case when you're looking at FAR DFARS or clauses such as that. So you'll see right here, again, if I condense my 1 and 2, you're no stranger to this by this point. This is where it becomes very helpful. And why is catch-all? I'm just going to emphasize this for a bit, especially when we're looking at clauses. And for those of you who are newer on this call, we have caught, right, a FAR that was not present in our other categories. And I think this is just a very powerful aspect of VT Docs and the wildcard. For whatever reason, we forgot to pop it in. Maybe there was a typo, right? For whatever reason, we did not add it in our dictionary categories. So to save ourselves, just to be safe, and we love this sometimes, you know, FAR DFARS clauses get snuck up in revisions as well. So it is very worth having a catch-all category just to be safe, to make sure that you've covered, you know, all of the clauses present, especially as we're looking at compliancy. You don't want to be disqualified, not win, just because, you know, you accidentally miss something. That would be a shame. So again, when I go down this and I look at it, this is great, right? I'm getting all of my colors, I'm getting my meaning, I'm getting my traffic light system, and I'm sort of understanding, okay, what implications does this have, or maybe lack thereof, right? Thankfully, in our preview, we only saw there was one non-compliant FAR DFAR to be concerned about. In this case, it's a FAR. So we can look at this and say, okay, what does this, you know, actually mean? And if we're non-compliant, you know, it depends. Do we need subcontractors, teaming partners? You know, there's been new rules, regulations this time around, but this is worthy of noting. But then again, let's actually get into the meat of this and understand why would we be using this and how quickly would we be understanding things using this VT Docs output. And right here, personal favorite, security. It's always a big one. It's always something that you have to be cognizant about. And this clause right here, what does this mean? Subcontractors, contractors, you need to be CUI, right, CUI compliant. So from a security perspective, you have to make sure that you are actually adhering to the clauses and what the document is asking of you from a compliancy perspective. So in this case, this is huge. This is something we found you, and we found you very, very quickly. So that is the reason I would suggest that you use this output when you have multiple categories. And if I take a step back again, this is Word, right? We've got a table here, and this is why I wanted to show you using a Word document, because we'll also find you the mentions of your dictionary hits within tables. So this, I think, is very handy, and this is very powerful. You'll get all of the same stuff as our simple shred, just with the added benefit of columns as needed. And again, we'll just filter onto this, and then I promise I will zoom in to save your eyes. Right here. Okay, show me only what we are, right, non-compliant in. Show me only, my mandatory flow downs. You can filter this way as well. You don't want blanks, you just want X's. So this is one way that you can also use the document. If you just want to find all the catch-alls or whatever it is, you filter, and then we'll find it for you accordingly. So this is just a handy tool to have when you're looking multiple categories in category shred. Simple shred, simple dictionary. But that doesn't mean you don't customize and color code, right? Please always be doing that. when it makes sense to. All right. So this is high level, the two outputs that we have, your simple shred, your category shred. What I now want to go into, and I think this is an underrated and sometimes unknown feature, especially again, if you are newer to VT-Docs, you have your designated CSMs, you have your QBRs, as you know, so those are really helpful to get information and tips and tricks out of us. But we've looked at, right, category shred, simple shred. Well, okay, Suki, I want to run shreds multiple times. Does this mean I have to run a shred each single time leveraging a different dictionary? No. The whole point of VT-Docs is to make you efficient. So we want to make sure that we have functionalities that do exactly that. So what I will do is take a step back again and just speak to what I am saying, which is called a multi-shred. A multi-shred does exactly that, allows you to analyze multiple documents at the same time. It can be different documents, it can be the same documents, it can be the same dictionary, it can be different dictionaries. The way I would do this is go into my folder right here. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with the soup trend. And what I'm going to do is switch to this subfolder and then click my simple shred. And what I will be doing over here is we were in the by folder document. What you'll see up here is dictionary search. It sort of takes you to this. This basically is, right, multiple document analysis on multiple dictionaries, but we don't want to do this at the by folder level. We want to do it at the by document level. The rationale behind this is we are using multiple documents, right, and we'll be leveraging different dictionaries in this case. So soup, I want to go through that. I want to review it, but let me change my actual dictionary. So in this case, this is exactly what I wanted. But I'll show you what I mean and how I would do this. So compliance dictionary, as you recall, was just my will, shall, and must. My compliance matrix scan, however, and the way I would do this, hypothetically, and you know what, just for the sake of it, I'll just change the dictionary and then I will show you why I would revert back to what I wanted to do. So let's say it was defaulted like this. You very simply change dictionary, right? You go to what you want. In this case, I want this dictionary because I know my dictionaries, I've customized and created them. And if you're ever unsure and you just want to sneak peek, right, we always allow you to do that. You just have to open it up. The difference between these, will, shall, must, you know, I've got my first lens, great. But if I wanted to just enhance that and I wanted more terms in here, you see I've got 24 items in here. I've got my will, shall, must, but I've also got include, submit, require, review, these additional words that I, for my peace of mind, want to find in the document. So this way, I don't have to do, you know, two shreds, two dictionaries. I can just do the same shred, just different lens, different angle. We're in compliance right now, but again, take a step back, think about this creatively. You can have one document, you can have a legal dictionary, you know, you could have a sales dictionary, you could have a proposals dictionary, whatever it is, if you didn't want to create a category shred as an example. And the soup document, it's worth me just adding, if you ever want to preview what you're actually analyzing, right click this, and then you can open in Word, and then it'll just generate that document for you. You'll have it obviously on your desktop because you've popped it into Analyze, but just in real time for convenience sake, it's worth me just noting that you can do exactly this, right? And this is a massive document, as we know. I mean, this bar is getting smaller and smaller as I talk. So large document, let's just make sure again, we're kind of alleviating those pain points for you. But just as a tip, if you wanted to preview, that's how you do it, right click. All right, so I'll go back to what I was doing before, which was my multi-shred. Let's go into by document. Open this up just for peace of mind. I can click it, I can preview like I said, and as I click these, or as I select them, just very specifically, we always provide you with a preview. Context is everything. So even before you exit out of VT-Docs into your Excel output, this is an option for you. All right, so let's actually conduct our shred. I'll select both of these because that's what I want. And here are where I'll start speaking to, you know, what can you actually do customization wise? Lots to do, lots to click from. Nice problem to have, right? We've given you basically what customers have asked for, what users have asked for. So in this case, what I'm going to be doing is new tab for every document. You can toggle this off, right, if you don't want it, The reason why I want it is just to keep it clean. I get one Excel output with 2 sheets respective of those 2 source documents, right? The NASA soup. So let me have this on, wrap text and tables. That's what we want. If you don't want to wrap the text and tables, you can absolutely toggle that off as well. But I want them in, the prime optimal state in my Excel output. So again, right, that massive document very quickly has become a workable document within VT Docs. So as I go down here again, we'll do a little zoom in, but I've got my 2 lenses. I'll press my 1 again, just so you can see the difference. And just so you can see right here, if you want to check, it will also tell you, right, which dictionary have you used for which tab. So I've got 1 soup angle, I've got a 2nd soup angle, press my 1 again. And now I've got not just will, shall, must, right? It's changed to review, document, everything that I had in my dictionary. So very quickly, different angle, different lens on same document. Again, you can pop in as many dictionaries, as many files with different angles as you want, provided it makes sense for your actual use cases. So this is just something I wanted to show you in case you weren't aware of. You can run a multi-shred just by clicking that by document view in 6.0. All right. Now, what we will do is pivot slightly, not massively, just sticking with the same sort of compliance angle, but with a PDF version. And the reason why I want to do that is just showing you different layout, right, with the page numbers, just so everyone is on the same page. But more than that as well, how do we use that ignore feature? Some of you responded saying, you know what, we know how to use this, which is great. But let's show it for the folks that haven't seen it. So what I'm going to do this time around is pick this document and let's just show you what we're working with. If my memory keeps me honest, it's about 100 pages. Yes, 100 pages. And this is a very, very kind document that actually shows us, right, where each section is. The reason why I asked you about that ignore aspect of who is using it, or have you used it rather, is because sometimes we only care for section C, L, and M, right? It's everyone's preference is different, but if you're like Suki, I only want to see what's in C, L, and M, and I just want to see, evaluation criteria as an example, not a problem. We've got page numbers to work with, so let's leverage that to get a more customized output. So what I'll do is look at here, section C, this is what I care for, so 7 to 24, L is 79 to 96, M is 97 to 103. So you just jot these down, obviously, and then let's actually conduct our shred, which you are not new to anymore. Simple shred, options over here, but this is where we will now customize, right, for section C, L, and M. So I did jot it down, so we'll do 1 to 6 we want to ignore, and we also want to ignore 25 to 78 to give us C, L, and M. I've done that. Let's click export. Again, by this point, you're all experts in understanding what the output's going to look like. Let it pop up, and we shall go from there. So here you go. We're starting right off the bat, page 7, as we wanted, section C. So this way, and let's just keep ourselves honest, we'll go to page, what was it, 70. You know what, actually, let me use what I recommended to all of you. So I'll click that one, and then as I go down over here, we'll find L right there, right? So we've gone from page 23, 24, and then we kick off on L. So very nice and handy feature. And then if we go down as well, you'll find section M. So again, your contractor shall, right? All of these compliancy terms that we wanted to find, we will find you just for the sections that you are concerned about. Let's take that a step further though. I'll go back to the top. I'll go back to my 2. And what I'll also do is go to this tab. Since we've ignored text for you or ignored pages for you, we will create a separate tab to show you what has been excluded. The reason for this is not what are false positives, right? But what we have intentionally omitted because we didn't want to see what page 1 had. but there was still a dictionary hit over there. So we'll pop these in for you, right? And as an example, page 2, right? Actually, do you know what? We customized it for CLNM, but for whatever reason, I think this is very important. I want it in my document. Then it's very simple as, you know, just cutting, going up here, and then just popping it in. So just like that, you can have that over there should you want it. But just so you know, when we exclude the paragraphs, we'll let you know what we have excluded. But like I said, we can take this a step further. As I go through this document, there's still some lines, right, that we could do without. This row, page 8 of 103, as an example. 103 pages, 103 rows of this. This heading as well. I'll go back to the source document so you can envision it. But this is popping up recurringly, again, 103 times on 103 pages. If I go back over here, you'll see what I'm speaking to. This pops up, this pops up. Let's just get rid of it if we can, and we absolutely can. What are we going to do? We're going to ignore this. Let's just take that output a step further. So I'm shredding to Excel again, right? I'm clicking on my document that I want. Simple shred. Let's repeat it again, but again, let's just enhance that. So we want to ignore 1 to 6, and we want to ignore 25 to 78. So that is done. And then over here, let's ignore the text. Verbatim, we want to copy and paste, right? For accuracy, it is software, so let's just make sure we're telling it correctly. And then for this, not page 2 of 103, not page 3 of 103, you're going to have to do that 103 times, just this of 103. Because then what that will do is detect VTDocs. We like it, it's smart. It will detect, okay, this line in this context needs to be removed. So again, this will generate, we'll get our customized output to ignore what we have wanted it to ignore, and we'll get that tab there as well. And there you go. Right off the bat, right, we start off with section C, happy days. You don't have to worry about unnecessary fluff, right, of page numbers and headings that you don't need to see. And then that one, which I love, just condenses everything even a bit more. So you've gone from a 103 page document, right, to an Excel document that is workable, that you can work out of, that you can make comments. It just makes you more powerful. So this is something, again, right, people sometimes say, oh, there's a massive document, you know, how do I customize this? How do I do it? There are things in here that I don't need. We understand that, and that is why we have that ignore functionality over there. So please do leverage it to, you know, just frankly speaking, save your sanity. So that is one way that you can ignore text and get an optimal output if you only care for certain sections. Of course, please also read everything that pops up out of here. If I failed to say in the beginning, I will say it now. Yes, we do a great job at finding you what you need to find, but we always say, you know, with humans, you need to vet software, right? So we just encourage you to read what is coming out of VTDocs and the excluded paragraphs as well. If you just want to check real quick, okay. And then this is as well, right? You can do it very quickly with that 1 and 2 that I showed you before. So this, in a nutshell, is how you use VTDocs to shred with Word documents, headers, right, reference points, paragraph numbers. With PDFs, as you can see right here, we provide you with page numbers. So I just wanted to go through those 2 source documents examples so you're aware of what the difference is. Simple shred, category shred. I've said it 10 times, but I'll say it an 11th time. Category, right, multiple categories in your dictionary, use it that way. Simple shred, as the name suggests, simple dictionary, you do it that way. So that is the way to use this. With word dense documents, please use, table dense documents, please use a Word source output or input. And then when you're doing that as well, I just recommend, right, PDF, if it's dense, just shred it and convert it to a Word document before you're doing your export and all of this good stuff. You can always, like I said, test it out. I really, really encourage the users that I work with to play with the software, right? Play with the customizations. You'll find things in there, and I always see this with customers. Oh, actually, this works really well for me. I like seeing references in each section, and you can toggle that on, right? And I'll just show you real quick. in the interest of time, we'll just show you this way, right? If you want repeated refs or repeated columns in that content column, you just have to toggle it on. It's there for you in 6.0. So please use that as well. And just because I have time, I'm going to be a little cheeky and say, what if at the end, right, we've written our response, yay, right? We want to actually just see, though, to what extent have we actually addressed and maybe been compliant with what the RFP or the source document is asking. And when you're doing that, you create a folder, a subfolder. In this case, I have a NASA SAO that I'm going to be working with, and I have a response. Again, I'm going to right-click view this PDF just so we know what we're working with. So right here, we've got a SAO, right? Something that we want to work with. And then all we're going to do is pop in the SAO and our response, go to a tab that's called Discovery. No pre-work required. We love that. We've already done enough work writing and responding to the SAO. So at the folder level, I can click this using what we have in Discovery, AI feature. NLP is what we use, natural language processing. And all it does is extrapolates common themes, key themes in order of frequency. You'll see highest to lowest, and align the documents side by side to see if there are gaps, right, or lack thereof, gap analysis. All of this you can find and you can leverage Discovery for. I won't go down a rabbit hole right now. We have lots of product videos, VT University, as Aoife had spoken about earlier. But why am I actually showing you this? Because once you've written your document and your response, you can pop in the SAO, you can pop in your response, and then go side by side to see, have we actually mentioned what the SAO, what the source document was asking for, right? Have we spoken to it? And again, if we're thinking from compliancy, okay, data's popped up, 228 hits, we can open this plus sign, get a bit more granular and say, right, where have we or have we not mentioned certain things, certain keywords? So right here, it's screaming at me, data publication services. 4 times in the SAO, we have not mentioned it once. And again, context is everything. Let me click this. And we love to provide context. This little content page over here, data publication services. The contractor shall work with users to register and publish data through the data publication services. So this is something that you must do, right? You shall be doing it, but you have not mentioned it in your response. So again, you take this back and say, well, why haven't we done it? And very quickly, like I said, no pre-work required. With VT Docs, with the discovery feature, you'll be able to do exactly that. So we started with generating a matrix, be it a compliance, so simple shred or a category shred. But you're also seeing that's not just, okay, we use VT Docs at the beginning. We're also using it at the end over here. So, we're trying to help you end to end. You just have to pop them in and see. So lots of value over here as well. We usually stick to shreds when we're thinking of compliancy, but also think about it at the end stage. Pop it in here real quick. Go side by side, just keep yourself honest to make sure you're submitting the best response that you possibly can. I will stop talking at you now. That is effectively the end of how you would use VT Docs from a compliancy perspective. And if there are any questions, which I can see already, we will move to that. All right. Okay, got a couple of questions. Where can I find the dictionary marketplace you mentioned? Yes, good question. I should share my screen again. All right, so very easy. If you're a VT Docs user, you currently have access. It's just this question mark over here, help. Got some video guides, product videos. And then over here is Dictionary Marketplace. So if you click this, let's just get out of this. This is our resources marketplace. Very nice, very handy. You will need to register if you are not a user, not a big deal. You can also go to our website and just pop in details, and you'll see it over here in resources marketplace. But all is to say, Emily, this is where you would find it from. And it's worth me noting, actually, you can download it export it out, to CSV or whatever, not whatever format, to CSV, add whatever you want in it, and you can always import the dictionaries back. So they are not, something static. They are very much customizable, as you saw. They're very easy to edit. So that is something that you can do. Oh, and I answered the question without actually, sorry. Can I add more words to the compliance dictionary to find in the simple thread? Yes, you can. Right here, folder is the analysis. Right under it is the dictionaries. Let me click the one that I want to do. So we'll just go to compliance dictionary, edit dictionary, and then it's literally as simple as clicking add new term. Require, add new term. And this is where I'll show you the power of VT-Docs as well. And I'll just take it that step further, that wildcard that I was speaking to earlier. This is where you do it from. Again, we have those at VT University. We have the resources product videos. If I put my asterisk right here, very cool feature. It will be able to show you, require, requires, required, requiring, all iterations of require onwards. So it's not just that, there's much, much more you can do, just for those of you who aren't aware of this. But that is how you would add terms. And if you don't want it, right, you want to delete it, it's as simple as that. If you want to also, while I'm at it, change color, you can change color this easily, and then pop it back on. So that is how you would do that. Any other questions? Could you please show again how to convert PDF to Word? Yes. So the way that you would do this is quite simply with like an Adobe Pro or anything software that'll be able to convert the document for you. That's how you would do it. With Word documents as well, what you can do is just a nice tip that my lovely VP, Carl, actually taught me. From a Word document, you can just switch it to PDF, click Save, and then it will save as a PDF document for you, Iris. And then just for converting PDF to Word, you do the flip, but within Adobe as an example. So that's the way that you would do that. While it loads in the background, it's a massive document, but that's the way that you would do that. And then you just upload it into VT-Docs. And let me just show you that as well, right? So a couple of ways you can upload. One is you just click at the folder level and you can drag and drop from your desktop, Iris, or what you could also do is click browse your files. And if there's a bunch that you want to add, you can click this button and then you can choose what exactly you want to upload. Wait for it to do that, and then you can go off and shred and do whatever you like. Any other questions?
I see one here, Suki, from John. Can you please explain the catch-all feature to me?
Yeah, sure. So the catch-all feature is sort of what I was speaking to with that asterisk. So I'll go back to my DFARS dictionary that I was using. So this right here, it's a category that I customized, right, that I created for me. And you'll see see that wildcard indicator. So what this basically does is anything 5.2 onwards, it will find for me. Anything 252 onwards, it will find for me in my source documents. So that is what catch-all is, and I'll just show you again. Let's just edit this. This is how you do it, right? So you pop in the term. So I just showed you that require, requires, requiring. It's just the way you do that, but for numbers instead. So no real difference. You pop in that asterisk, and we'll give you a preview of what that looks like right here. So anything 252 onwards, we will find for you. Once you're happy with that, you just click confirm. And then, a good gut check of, yeah, you've done this properly, is that wildcard sign will appear. So you know that you've done it properly. Any other questions?
There's one last question here.
Yeah.
One from Laura. She's wondering, I don't see the color coding. How do we upgrade to the 6.0 or 6.0?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, so the way you would do that is if you don't see the color coding and you are in dictionaries, like I said, 99% right, you're just on an older version. So the way that we'd want you upgraded, if you're on the cloud, you're always up to date. But if you're on-premise customer hosted, which sounds like you are, Laura, the way you would do that is reach out to us, please. Your CSM, whoever you know you're working with at VT Docs, reach out to them, and we'll help facilitate that. Our support team will send a license file to your IT team, and they'll just have to upload that license file, or upgrade file rather. Takes a maximum of 30 to 45 minutes. It's not a strenuous task at all, and you'll be seeing it the way we do today. So please, nudge your IT team, lean on us as well, and we'll make sure we can make that happen. We can get on a call with your IT team as well. Our support team is highly responsive. They're great. They will get on a call with your IT team if needed to complete this upgrade.
Great.
Any other questions?
That's it for now, Suki. What we will do is just show the rest of the slides there. We have some other fantastic resources that might be available to you once you have access to these slides. So one is to do with the VisibleThread compliance matrix. That's an example that could be useful, and also the category shred. So these are both videos from VT University, so they could come in handy. Like Suki mentioned, and if you didn't already know, VisibleThread has a dedicated customer success team who are there to help at all stages of your customer lifecycle with us. So you can book in a call with our customer success managers to help you get some quick wins and ensure you're getting the most value out of VisibleThread. And last but not least, our next webinar at a glance graphics is on July 18th with Mike Parkinson from the 24-Hour Company. And in this webinar, we will discuss the latest trends on how to turn words and data into winning bid and proposal graphics. This will be an innovative, high-energy webinar with a live Q&A. So we look forward to seeing you there. And I think that's it for today. So as always, thank you very much for attending this training webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thank you.